So, today I'm creating characters from my singing monsters using the Spore character creator, and the first one I want to make is Mammott. I'm starting with these eyes. They're the closest match I could find. Then I add the arms and change the hands. Now, I'm giving him legs and swapping the feet for these furry-looking ones. For the mouth, I'm using these red pieces, and I'm using a bunch of these stone pieces to build the teeth. I adjust the position a bit, redraw the eyes, and start adding fur with these parts. Just a few final details. And here's how Mammott turned out. And now I want to make Toe Jammer. So I'm starting with a light blue half-circle base. I'm adding these eyes, which will change color later. Using a bunch of pink and purple parts, I build the mouth. Now comes the most important part, the fingers. I'm using this round piece, shaping each finger a bit differently. Then I add the nails using these little half-circle pieces, and I finish the eyes using the same pink pieces from the mouth. Just a few final touches, and let's see how it turned out. Oh god, it ended up looking like a traumatizing finger. And after that beautiful finger dance, let's move on to creating Potbelly. So I start with a green base, add 1 foot, and begin shaping the mouth using a bunch of these colorful stones. Then I make the flower pot using these cylindrical pieces. Oh, and to make the little plant on top, I'm using an arm, adding some details, and attaching these leaves. Now, let's see how it moves in the test room. It reminds me of a Mario Piranha plant fused with a pea shooter from Plants vs. Zombies, but overweight. Now I'm making Noggin, and even though it kinda looks like I'm building a humanoid egg with giant hands and feet, I'm just working on the base. I'm adding tons of these rock pieces, drawing the eyes, and building the mouth with these parts. I make a few changes to the feet, and let's see how it turned out. Oh wow, it moves its feet like crazy, but doesn't go anywhere. Apparently those giant feet were hiding his forbidden dance moves. So after that epic performance, let's move on to furcorn. To start, I'm giving it 2 arms so the mouth can move properly, then building it out with a bunch of these parts and some teeth. I want to give it fur using a lot of these fluffy looking pieces. I make the eyes using a bunch of little spheres. Oh god, it looks like it's seen things it'll never be able to unsee. I tried to fix it, but right now it looks like a furcorn that's been chugging radioactive energy drinks for a week straight. Give me a second to improve it. I know it could be better, but I swear I did my best. It still looks like a furcorn that drinks 50 coffees a day, but at least it looks happy. Now, let's make frog. I'm starting with frog legs, then building some giant lips with these pieces and adding 3 eyes. Next, I make the crystal things on its head using these rocks and add some texture. Let's see how it turned out. Oh god, when it walks, it looks like its whole skin stretches. But don't get sad. You may not be conventionally attractive, but I'm sure you'll find your princess someday. Oh wait, she showed up. It was Halloween, but it turned into Valentine's Day. Let's build shrub. I'm starting with a base, arms and legs, and trying to recreate its weird posture. The head is made using this leafy bush, and the mouth with a bunch of these stones. The eyes are made with tons of little spheres. I'm also building that leafy thing on its back. Then I add the trunk using this leaf piece, decorate with some flowers, and finish off with teeth and a chin. Now let's see how this walking shrub performs in the test chamber. Now I'm going to make Oaktopus. I start by building the eyes and those tired-looking eye bags. Then I make the mouth and nose using these parts. For the details under the mouth, I'm using a bunch of arms. To make the roots, I'm using a bunch of legs. After a few adjustments, I start working on the tree branches on its head. I add the leaves and change the color. Actually, I decide to remove the eyes and redo them and shift the position a bit. It's turning into some kind of tree mutant. I finish the teeth and shape the top of the tree with some final details. Let's see how this branchy abomination moves in the test chamber. Now I want to make Drumpler. I start with an orange base. To make the tail, I'm using arms. I add these ears and kawaii eyes, then build the hair with these pieces. The mouth is made using a bunch of rocks. For the belly detail, I use these yellow pieces. I change the hands and feet using these brown parts and build the drumsticks it holds. Now, let's see how it moves in the test area. And I know I'm losing my mind, but it kind of reminds me of Gibby from iCarly. And after that epic drum solo, let's make Maw. Basically, it's just one giant furry mouth. I build a round structure, and in the center goes the tongue. But first, I make the teeth with these molar-like parts. Then I draw the tongue with these pink stones, and the lips with a bunch of violet ones. Now I give it fur using all these hair pieces. I add those terrifying little things on its face, and some final touches. Let's see how it turned out. Oh my god, we already know it can scream, but let's find out if it can dance. Since I've already created the natural monsters with plant elements, both single and double element ones, I also made Plant Island to hear their full song. Let's explore a bit with Mammott and check what the other monsters are up to. Are you okay? I thought it had passed out. So far on this island, I have Noggin, Drumpler, Shrub, who honestly I have no idea what it wants. Then there's Toe Jammer, Potbelly, and Fawog. And right here we've got Oaktopus and Furcorn. Wait, is it chasing me? It kinda looks like it is. Alright, now let's listen to the full song. And move on to making the monsters from Cold Island. I'm starting with Tweedle. This one's tricky because it needs to fly, so I add some arms, then use these parts to create the feathers. With these yellow pieces, I shape the legs. I give it these ears and a beak that moves. And for the eyes, I use tons of these little spheres. I finish it off with some feather details. Let's see if it flies in the test room. Oh god, I don't know if it flies exactly how I imagined, but hey, it's something. Now let's make Pango. I start with a purple base, add these feet, and give it this movable beak. The eyes are made with lots of little spheres, and I add details using these stones. Then I build the scarf using a bunch of red pieces. For the hair, I attach a ton of arms, and then I refine the eyes using these rings. I adjust the pose a bit, add some fur on the arms, and finish it off with this thing on the nose. I hope that's ice. Let's see how it moves in the test chamber. I know it's not my best work, but I swear I made it with love. Now I'm going to make Quibble. So, to create the heads, I'm going to use 2 arms. I also add 2 beaks, and for the eyes, I'm using these colorful little spheres. Using a bunch of these pieces, I create the feathers, then I add the legs. Next, I start making the circular keyboard, and I add piano keys. For the eyes, I use tons of these little balls again, and I make the hairstyle with these hair pieces. One head will be green, and the other will be pink. Then I add some final details. Let's see how this 2-headed monster moves. Oh my god, they look terrifyingly happy. Let's see how they walk, and if they've got any forbidden moves. Now, let's make Dandy-Doo. I start with a green base and 2 legs. I remove the feet and add this piece, which for now looks metallic. And then I add these bird feet. I tweak the structure a bit and add this beak with movement. Then I added this eyes. I make a quick change and use these pieces to create an afro on its head. And on the tail, I remove the eyes and build new ones using these blue rings, white semicircles, and black eyeballs. Let's see how it looks. It looks like it's whistling while it runs. Good lungs, but it can also throw some epic dance moves. Now, let's listen to the song of Cold Island. Now, I'm going to create Cybop. I start by making this base, and I give it an eye that looks like a weird off-brand minion. Then I start working on the mouth and teeth. I add these things hanging from its head, and use these pieces to create the base for the propeller. The structure is built with a bunch of these parts, and I finish it with this other piece. For the shrimp tail, I use these parts. I add some final details, and let's see how it moves in the test room. After these epic steps, let's listen to the song of Air Island, which is my favorite of the first 3 islands. Oh, and if you'd like me to create any other monsters, tell me which one in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next nightmare.